Hype. Hype is one of the most dangerous things a footballer can have during the early stages of their career. It could truly make or break a player. Amassing enormous amounts of pressure and hype at a young age whilst developing can either evolve into a few scenarios. Either the Wonder Kid lives up to the hype successfully, completely falls below fan and media expectations, or just flatlining, becoming a mediocre rotational player. And therefore, we're covering some of the most overhyped Wonder Kids in the last 5 to 8 seasons or so in the new FIFA 20 Overhyped Wonder Kids Challenge. So the main rules and objectives of the challenge are: number 1, we're using a full team of only overhyped Wonder Kids in career mode. Number 2, it is our responsibility to try and get these Wonder Kids to live up to the hype that they originally generated, whether that's improved performances in goals or assists, or just growth in overall and potential. In terms of silverware, we've got to go all out by winning the Premier League, a domestic cup competition, and this one is going to be the most challenging of them all, the Champions League. All in the space of a 3-season time limit. We've got our work cut out for us, and we've decided to put all the overhyped Wonder Kids we've culminated for this video into the one squad, and that club will be Norwich City. So this is just going to increase the difficulty up to the next level. Just a heads up, if a Wonder Kid you thought deserved to make the team hasn't featured, it's your best bet to go over and check out the Failed Wonder Kids challenge we did on the channel. Although both videos share the same premise, I wanted to take a bit of a different approach and angle headed into this video. So basically, it's just the players that you guys suggested down in the comments below, and the players that we couldn't fit into the Failed Wonder Kids challenge. So let's go ahead and see who made the cut. As you can see here, the squad is made up of a total of 30 players, 3 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 14 midfielders, and 8 attackers. We're gonna try to get through them as best we can, as quick as possible, whilst also providing a bit of context and reasoning behind why I've included them in this video. Starting off in goal is Alban Lafont. The Frenchman is still only 20 years of age. However, when he was added into FIFA 16 around then, he just had so much hype around him. He had like 90 potential to start off once he was added into the game, and yeah, it just hasn't really panned out like that in real life. Don't get me wrong, he can still achieve that potential. He still has decent potential in FIFA 20. He just hasn't really had these seasons to remember in his first few stints away from France. And then, of course, we move on to Loris Karius, and I guess you all know the story. Champions League final 2018. Yeah, we don't really need to reiterate what happened there. However, rewind the season before he moved to Liverpool. He was a breakout keeper in the Bundesliga, reaching a very decent potential around 86. And yeah, I guess a few confidence-breaking moments later, humiliating Champions League final. He just hasn't recovered, and I don't think he will. And then we have Stephan, the only Greek to feature in this squad. He had a pretty decent 86 potential around FIFA 13, FIFA 14. It's fair to say he has not lived up to the potential as of yet. Still 25 years of age, but those will be the 3 goalkeepers. At left back position is Jetro Willems, currently out at Newcastle. Originally burst onto the scene at PSV around FIFA 13, FIFA 14. He had a massive potential. He dropped off for quite a bit after that and never really came back to fruition. He's now in the Premier League. And then we have Malang Sarr around FIFA 16 and FIFA 17. He was the go-to French centre-back. Hasn't moved away from France and hasn't really lived up to the potential that FIFA gifted him with around 88 to 89. He's still only 20 years of age, but his potential has dropped off a cliff. Moving over to his centre-back partner, it is going to be his fellow countryman, Kurt Zuma. Another go-to centre-back of years gone by. Kurt Zuma now has had various loan stints here and there, has now solidified his place at Chelsea, but yeah, he had a whopping potential that he's yet to live up to. Still only 24 years of age though. 88 plus potential. Kurt Zuma was set to be the next big French defender, and it just hasn't panned out that way. There was so much hype surrounding him, and he hasn't really lived up to it yet, as we'll move on to Eric Bayi. Another Premier League defender. The 25-year-old African centre-back is playing for Manchester United, and the sad conditions in terms of Bayi's case is that he's just picked up way too many injuries. It's hampered his game time, his momentum, and yeah, he's just been too inconsistent when it comes to game time week in, week out. When United picked him up from Villarreal, he was a big talent with 88 potential in that FIFA, and he was just a great player out of La Liga. A lot of Wonder Kids that do have a lot of hype surrounding them are especially Dutch Wonder Kids. On top of that, coming out of the Ajax Youth Academy, that is just a whole nother level of hype. Jairo Rijderwald was definitely one of them. Originally from Ajax, now playing for Crystal Palace. He moved to the Premier League a couple of years ago, and yeah, it just hasn't gone the way I think everyone saw it going. As we move on to the midfield, we're going to start off at the CDM position, and here we have our first Italian of the video. I know we had a lot of Italians in the Failed Wonderkids video, but they're going to return for the Overhyped Wonderkids, and that is Manuel Locatelli. The Atalanta AC Milan Youth Academy product really exploded onto the scene after scoring a last-minute winner against Juventus, and he was set to be the next big midfielder in Italian football, and it just hasn't really turned out that way for him. He's now at Sassuolo. He's moved on a permanent basis, and yeah, I guess he's just playing for a mid to lower tier table side. At 21, he's still got time to get his career back on track as we move over to the 26-year-old Bruno Zuculini. And I don't know if you guys played a lot of FIFA 15, but he was an insane wonder kid out of Manchester City. He never really got out of that youth academy system, and yeah, now he's out at River Plate in the Argentinian league, 75 overall. Never really lived up to that hype and potential, which is unfortunate to see, and now it is one of our oldest players on this list. Ryan Babel, 32 years of age. The Dutchman was playing for Fulham last season, and now I think he's out at Galatasaray. Similar to a lot of Dutchmen, he gained a lot of hype and expectations after he moved to Liverpool and the likes, and yeah, just hasn't really lived up to it, unfortunately. We've got a common thread, we've got a common theme here, as you guys know, and we'll move on to a bit of a throwback. If you guys played a little bit of FIFA 12, FIFA 13, maybe even a bit of FIFA 14 here and there, you would know of the name of the Brazilian playmaker, Adrian. Now, I'm not too sure about the media, but FIFA really had some high expectations for him. The hype garnered in FIFA career mode that time was absolutely insane. He had high 80s potential, and the Brazilian was set to be the next big thing and just never eventuated into anything. He never really made the move to Europe, and I know a lot of you guys out there, that'll trigger some nostalgia and that'll get the memories back. But Adrian, another failed Brazilian, there are many of them, as we take a look forward at the forgotten German wonder kid, Mahmoud Dahoud. Man, that name is just so fun to say. The midfielder originally exploded onto the scene in the Bundesliga with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Dortmund picked him up, and yeah, just never really clicked. It never really worked out. His game time's been inconsistent. He's picked up a lot of injuries, and his potential was in the high 80s, like a lot of these hyped up wonder kids. And a few seasons gone by, he's still at the same level, if not worse, than a few seasons ago, which is unfortunate. And then we have a FIFA 15, FIFA 16 wonder kid for you guys, bringing back a bit of memories, a bit of nostalgia. It is Viktor Kovalenko, the Ukrainian, out of Shakhtar Donetsk. He's still playing for them now, but he was an absolutely brilliant pickup around that time in career mode with a high 80s potential. Kovalenko was one of the few Ukrainians back then that were absolutely insane on the game. And now this is probably where all Liverpool fans thought they were going to get their own version of Marcus Rashford in their squad after he scored on debut. He scored for Wales as well. They thought he was going to be the next reincarnation of Gareth Bale for the national team. Alright, I'll give him some slack. He's still 19. He's had a few loan spells at Sheffield United, now at Oxford. He hasn't really set the world alight. He hasn't really had too much of an impact on the first team, and Jurgen Klopp's opted to give him some more experience and game time in the lower English divisions, and therefore Ben Woodburn still has a lot to amount to. As we move on to yet another cam, it is Angel Gomes. This one might be a bit slack considering he's still a teenager basically, but he won United's Best Youth Player of the Year award in 2017, made his debut coming on for Wayne Rooney all those years ago against Crystal Palace, and still hasn't really merged his way into the first team like a lot of people thought he would. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer preferring the likes of Greenwood and some other wonder kids that have leaped above him in the pecking order at United. And Angel Gomes, the young Englishman gifted with brilliant potential in career mode, has yet to explore that and might not even be able to in real life. We're gonna have to wait and see. Oh boy, here we go then. I definitely should have included this guy in the Failed Wonderkids video. It is the one, the only Hashim Mastor. Now this one is going to hark back a lot of memories for you career mode diehards. The Italian-born Moroccan playmaker originally burst onto the scene with AC Milan. In a time of dire straits for AC Milan, he was one of their bright stars. He was one of their lights of hope in their squad. Considering how far they'd fallen, they just needed one outlet of hope and positivity they could shed some light on, and that, unfortunately, in the end, came down to Hashim Mastor. He was added into FIFA with an absolutely absurd potential of 88. Like, he was an absolute gun. We've had to create him for the purposes of this video. However, he's no longer in FIFA, currently playing in the 3rd division of Italian football, Serie C. He obviously parted ways with the San Siro, moved on to various various loan spells at Malaga, Zwolle in the Netherlands, and then even made his way out to the Greek league with Lamia. It has been a rapid fall from grace for the Moroccan, and I do not see a way back for him, to be honest, unless he has a meteoric rise back to the top. It was a massive flash in the pan, and it's definitely been one of the most hyped up wonder kids, and probably one of the most failed wonder kids at the same time as well. Still only 21, so I guess there is some kind of hope. Well then, Hashim Mastor, what could have been? As we focus our attention towards another Brazilian in this list, it is Oscar. Two contrasting figures we've just moved on from. Nevertheless, we have the Brazilian playmaker who was tearing it up at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea was where he developed into an absolute baller. He was on the cusp of moving to a giant European team, and yeah, he just took the money, he took the cash, he secured the bag, and moved his way onto China. He's still a quality player, don't get me wrong, but out in the Chinese league, when he's in the prime of his career, he should be playing Champions League football week in, week out. And also, a lot of you guys were requesting him down in the comments, so there you go. As we move our way over to Angel Correa, the Argentine, now at Atletico Madrid. When he was first added into FIFA career mode, he was gifted with an absolutely mind-blowing potential, so that's why we've included him in here, but he's one of the better players in this squad. As we move over to his Portuguese counterpart, it is Ricardo Quaresma. A lot of you guys were requesting this one, and down in the comments of the last video, he was supposed to be what Ronaldo is right now, if you understand what I'm trying to say. The hype and build-up surrounding Ricardo Quaresma, he could have been an absolute baller. He could have been a Ballon d'Or winner. What could have been for the Portuguese star? Very highly requested by you guys, considering we're doing Norwich in this one. We've left Patrick Roberts. If you've played FIFA 15, FIFA 16 career mode, you know all about Mr. Patrick Roberts, former Fulham and Manchester City Youth Academy product. I do believe he's out on loan at Norwich, so we've just kept him in this squad. He's been gifted with brilliant potential over the years in FIFA, and has just never really lived up to it, even in real life. Jordan Ibe is another one. Liverpool fans thought this guy was going to be the second coming of Raheem Sterling once Sterling left to Manchester City, and yeah, he just hasn't really done too much. Made a big money move to Bournemouth. He makes the overhyped Wonder Kids squad, as well as Denis Suarez. One of my favourite Wonder Kids from years gone by, the Spaniard was snapped up by Barcelona after his brilliant season at Villarreal. And then we move on to the curious case of Domenico Berardi. Came to the scene with Sassuolo in Serie A as a young teenager, taken Italy by storm, and for the newly promoted side, he's been with them ever since, and he just stayed at Sassuolo, has become a club legend and one of their top goal scorers, and he continues to be still only 24 years of age. I feel like he's been around for so much longer. As the list of hype wingers continue, this guy was literally only hyped for one FIFA iteration, one FIFA cycle. It is the man from the Czech Republic, Václav Cerny. You know he got gifted with that Ajax potential and the Ajax hype that surrounds all the Wonder Kids out of their academy. The peak of his potential, the peak of his powers was around 87 potential in FIFA 16, and it's been a steady decline for the winger. As we move over to another Brazilian, another ex-Chelsea Brazilian, it is Lukas Piazza. Oh, we could go on for days about this guy. He's been another subject of the Chelsea loanee system, and yeah, just really hasn't found his feet at any club he's been loaned out to. Has really flopped hard, and he is definitely a FIFA 12, FIFA 13, and possibly even a FIFA 14 career mode legend. Respect to the one and only Lukas Piazza. And as we move on to Gerard Deulofeu, a La Masia Youth Academy graduate, you know the hype and expectation that comes out of that academy, and like Ajax, he's done well at certain clubs like Everton, Watford, he is now out doing bits for. But I think in this time of his career, a lot of people expected him to be a first team regular for Barcelona, and that never really happened, considering he's competing with the likes of Messi for a right wing position. Yeah, that's never going to work out well. And now finally, we move on to our three-man strike force in Casper Dolberg, Bruno Zuculini, and John Guidetti. Where do we start with this, guys? The Swede that was playing for Manchester City, set to take over the role of Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the Sweden national team, never really eventuated. A FIFA 13 potential legend. And we'll move on to Bruno Zuculini, FIFA 15 to FIFA 17. He was the main man. He was the striker that you were always going to buy in your career mode saves. The Swiss is now at Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then over to Casper Dolberg, another one of those Ajax hyped wonder kids. He's from Denmark, although playing for Nice now. he hasn't really lived up to that potential he's been gifted from early in FIFA's gone by, and that is the side of Overhyped Wonderkids. We have culminated the Failed Wonderkids list part 2. It's a mix of former FIFA career mode legends, youth academy prospects that were so hyped up, and just failed Wonderkids in general. Let's get this underway. What a squad we have round up here. And for those wondering, this is how the squad is looking in terms of the 4-2-3-1 formation. Up top we have Gerard Deulofeu leading the line. Oscar right behind him, probably one of the best cams in this team, the best players in this team. We have Quaresma down that left hand side. Dahoud and Locatelli will be the midfield partnership, and then on the right hand side we have Correa. The back four to suffer in that right back position, as Malangsar isn't a usual right back. We don't really have a right back for this squad. Zuma and Bayi will be the centre back partnership, and Jetro Willems at left back. It is Alban Lafont to be the man in between the sticks. Now it's time for the toughest part of them all. We're going to simulate through the first season, see how the Overhyped Wonderkids do, and see if we can win some silverware along the way. It is going to be an even tougher challenge than the Failed Wonderkids, but we'll give it a go. The Overhyped Wonderkids, let's see what you got. Here we are at the end of their first season, and you know what? That is respectable. A mid-table finish, just finishing below 10th place Arsenal, and you know, you got to respect that in one of the toughest leagues in the world. With 3 teams getting over 100 points, that is a respectable amount. 49 points throughout the whole season, and they've avoided relegation by a massive margin. It's going to be impossible to dethrone the likes of Liverpool, Man City, and Spurs. However, they do win out the FA Cup. Spurs, and we get knocked out. The Overhyped Wonderkids got humbled by Manchester United in round 5, 2-0. Over in the Carabao Cup, was it another early elimination there to Aston Villa? 2-1 in round 3. That is definitely more disappointing. No European football as of yet, but maybe, just maybe, we'll get a little taste of it this episode. You're gonna have to wait and see. And our main performers this season, guiding the Overhyped Wonderkids to a mid-table finish in the Premier League, we've got Gerard Deulofeu, the top goal scorer, with 11 goals and 7 assists, only in 18 appearances. I do not know what happened there, as Casper Dolberg was definitely our main striker in there with 10 goals in 34 appearances. It was definitely our out-and-out striker, and then experience pays off as the 33-year-old Ryan Babel with 9 goals and 1 assist. Angel Correa, I did expect a bit more from him, the right midfielder, 6 goals and 1 assist. Ricardo Quaresma, more experience paying off here, the 36-year-old Portuguese winger with 5 goals, 1 assist. Kovalenko, the Ukrainian, doing quite well in there with 4 goals. Zuculini with 3, Domenico Berardi, limited game time, only 3 goals, Jordan Ibe with 3, Jetro Willems with 2, as we'll scroll down, and there's a lot of goals being spread out. Oscar with 9 assists, unfortunately, didn't really have the season we all expected him to. Locatelli with 2 goals and 2 assists. Hashim Mastor not even getting a game in there. And in terms of our main goalkeepers, it was Alban Lafont, obviously getting the most appearances in there with 32, 6 clean sheets, which is a terrible record. Pinot and also Loris Karius had a bit of a go, only getting 1 clean sheet apiece. So definitely a debut season for the Overhyped Wonderkids, left more to be desired, so hopefully they can build upon this and be even better in Season 2. After a slightly positive start to their first ever season in the Premier League, they've regressed in Season 2 in terms of positions wise. They've gone from 11th to 12th. Points tally's increased by 1, now up to a half century at 50, but they're still well bang average in mid-table. These Overhyped Wonderkids just getting the job done. They know how to survive in the Premier League, not showing further potential to climb up the table and challenge for those European places, unfortunately. Alright, I got no idea how this has happened then. Somehow they find themselves in an FA Cup final. It seems like our Premier League form was thrown out the window for the FA Cup run. The Overhyped Wonderkids are facing Liverpool in the final. That has got to be mission impossible at Wembley, but we'll simulate it nonetheless. They won in round 4 to Crew. They won 3-1 to Spurs, and then they defeated Stoke City in round 6. They also defeated Everton at Wembley, and then that has built up to a massive final in London. Season 2 has actually been the most successful in terms of the cups. They've reached the furthest they've ever gone in the Carabao with a 3-0 elimination to our FA Cup finalists. This is how the Overhyped Wonderkids will be lining up for the FA Cup final. We've changed things around here. We've shifted Oscar back to that central midfield position. Deulofeu will be occupying the centre forward spot. Dolberg up top. Denis Suarez on the left. And then unfortunately Jetro Willems is injured. Let's go ahead and simulate the big dance. This is their time. The Overhyped Wonderkids, will you make up for all those years of hype and show why you were hyped up? And wow, what a way to lose an FA Cup final. An 117th minute winner from Divock Origi. I know a lot of Liverpool fans will be happy about that one, but we were 3 minutes away from the penalties lottery. Nevertheless, what an effort from the Overhyped Wonderkids. They kept the European champions for almost 120 minutes. A mediocre at best finish in the Premier League and 2 valiant cup runs and a heartbreaking way to lose an FA Cup final. Let's take a look at our main performers this season, and the man who has stepped up is Casper Dolberg, getting that golden boot. 18 goals and 4 assists for the lad, 22 goal contributions, 37 appearances for the Danes. We'll scroll down to Angel Correa, our second best player in there with 10 goals and 4 assists, 40 appearances for him. And then John Guidetti definitely did rise up to the occasion in there with 9 goals. Oscar with a similar output to last season, the captain with 9 goals and 5 assists. Adrian, which is someone that has just caught me off guard right now considering he's so low rated, 8 goals and 3 assists. Ryan Babel at 34 years of age, still going strong, the experience paying off, 5 goals and 1. Manuel Locatelli with 4 goals and 5 assists. Patrick Roberts in there as well. Denny Suarez reveling in that new left wing position, 2 goals and 4 assists for him. Kovalenko still doing alright, but Bruno Zuculini is definitely a player who has not lived up to it in this video. Casper Dolberg definitely taking the main spotlight in up top. Mahmoud Dahoud with an abundance of appearances there, 1 goal and 8 assists, so definitely more of a playmaker in our side. As we'll scroll down, Hashim Mastor, hey, he got 1 appearance in there, good on him. And here we have major improvement from the Frenchman Alban Lafont in between the sticks, 12 clean sheets. He's doubling his tally from last season, 43 appearances there. And then Karius and Pinot both with 10 appearances to share. We've seen major growth this season, some major spikes in performances and potential for the likes of Casper Dolberg. Alban Lafont also improving rapidly, and then Hashim Mastor, despite getting limited game time, we've got a lot of +2s, an increase in growth all around, and then +1s to share. And what a way to wrap up Season 2. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. The FA Cup final was so close to being theirs, however they have one last chance in Season 3 to see if we can get any type of silverware. Let's go ahead and see if Season 3 is the year for the overhyped Wonderkids to live up to the hype. And here we have them in Season 3, the final season for redemption, and there we go, 3rd time lucky. They've qualified for Europe with 71 points, finishing in 6th, looming in mid-table purgatory for 2 seasons. We now have them in 6th position, nearly getting into the top 5. It was always going to be a hard feat from the off, but they've gone ahead, grown, performed, developed, and gelled together as a squad. Liverpool in the FA Cup final again. Did they make a nice little cup run? No, they didn't. A round 4 elimination to Spurs, 4-1. And there was to be no fairy tale cup run in Season 3. Carabao Cup saw us get knocked out in round 4, 3-0 to, you guessed it, Spurs. They just love knocking us out. And unfortunately, there was no signs of Europe for this squad. The overhyped Wonderkids left it a little too late. 3 seasons was the time limit, and they weren't able to get it done within that time frame, so the challenge has definitely been a failure. The worst performing side definitely in one of these challenge videos, the overhyped Wonderkids. I guess there's a reason why they were overhyped. What could have been so much wasted potential all in the same squad. We'll take a look at our main performers this season. There is still much to reflect on and much to be respectable about. Angel Correa with 25 goals, 10 assists, definitely his best season to date. 35 goal contributions for the attacking Argentine, and Oscar again being the most consistent throughout these 3 seasons, definitely his best season yet at 30 years of age, 13 goals and 7 assists, 20 goal contributions. And then Casper Dolberg couldn't really follow up that Season 2 breakout he had, only 11 goals and 6 assists for him. Mahmoud Dahoud left his best season till last, 7 goals and 9 assists for the German midfielder. Malang Sarr definitely did put a shift in at centre back or left back, I'm not too sure where he played, but 4 goals and 1 assist from defence is definitely nothing to shy away from. And then Patrick Roberts, the Englishman, off the bench, being an impact super sub with 3 goals and 4 assists. Jetro Willems with 2 goals and 1 assist from left back. Jordan Ibe with 2 goals. Denis Suarez getting 2 goals and 5 assists. And then Gerard Deulofeu definitely dropping off since Season 1. Only 2 goals in 10 appearances for him. As we'll scroll down, a lot of players with only 1 goal in there. And the goalkeeping spot was all sharing is caring. 27 appearances, 10 appearances, and 9 appearances all shared around. Alban Lafont definitely being the main man with 11 clean sheets. And you've just got to feel sorry for these 3 cams, just rotting away on the bench, not doing much for this squad whatsoever. Bruno Zuculini was definitely another major letdown. The Swiss striker just didn't even do anything. And therefore, the overhyped Wonderkids challenge is failed. Some of the best overhyped Wonderkids combined into one squad couldn't do it in a 3-season time limit. The closest they got was an FA Cup final. Divock Origi, the man who broke our hearts, broke our dreams, and that was definitely the turning point in this FIFA 20 experiment challenge, whatever you want to call it. But that has been it. If you did go ahead and enjoy it, please make sure to smack a like on the video down below. below, hit subscribe and turn on those notifications for more FIFA 20 career mode content coming at you daily. Follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description. Also comment down below who was your favorite overhyped wonder kid. Who did I miss out in this squad? Please let me know down in the comments. Nevertheless, I have been BCHD. Hopefully you did enjoy. Have a wonderful day and I'll catch you all in the very next video.